Hey guys, what's going on? Jeff here from Films at Home. I'm going to do a couple 4K review videos for you today, and we're going to cover the new Tomb Raider releases. You get the original Lara Croft Tomb Raider, and then you've got Lara Croft Tomb Raider, the Cradle of Life. I'm going to pop these in, check out the 4K quality, let you know about the audio, any special features. We'll talk a little bit about the packaging. As you can see, that's pretty cool. And basically whether this is worth an upgrade from your DVD or Blu-ray copy that you already have, and if it's worth the kind of steep price that these are going for the 4K version. So let's dive into that, play the intro, and get started. All right, guys, so I can kind of talk about these at the same time. I was going to do two different videos, but realistically, they're very similar in terms of picture audio quality once I pop them in. So I'm going to cover them all here in one video. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, this is the original. Cradle of Life is the sequel. Both movies, in terms of just movie quality, are just okay. I don't really love either one of them. They're decent for video game adaptations, since those usually are pretty bad. And Angelina Jolie is kind of cool as Tomb Raider, but the real reason these were probably put out in 4K is because of the new Tomb Raider movie coming out this summer, I believe. So, you know, that's why they're getting a refresh. That's why they're hitting the market again, trying to get people back into the Tomb Raider franchise. Both of these movies were originally shot on 35 millimeter, from what I can tell, which would have made for a good 4K upgrade, but unfortunately, from everything I've read and from what I can see on my screen, I don't think there was a 4K remaster. Everything I'm hearing is that these are just upscaled from the Blu-rays, essentially. So you're getting the added benefit of HDR, which in a few scenes there's definitely some better color. The Blu-ray releases were actually subpar in my opinion. So this makes them basically as good as a good Blu-ray, but in terms of a 4K, they're kind of a poor 4K. There's a lot of grain due to the 35 millimeter, and that really almost becomes a problem with 4K because they didn't upscale it. So you're dealing with less resolution being pushed into a higher pixel space, and just the grain is overpowering in some scenes. In some scenes you don't notice it, but it is what it is. Visual effects in these movies, you know, they're older movies now. You know, 2001, I believe Cradle of Life was 2003, if I'm remembering correctly. So you're talking about 15, almost 20 years ago for visual effects, and it really shows here. And the fact that they are older visual effects, these are going to be some of the hardest movies to upscale to 4K, because they're in that in-between period where, like, in the 70s and 80s, even in the 90s, there was still a lot of practical effects being used, and visual effects were simpler. And so when you go to watch those in, you know, 2018, you don't expect as much. These movies look and feel modern because they're, you know, modern stories. They're characters you know, they're actors that you know. It's not an old movie, but they're in that weird time of technology where the visual effects were really kind of cheesy. The CGI was really not great. And it really shows in these 4K upscales, because the CGI was already rendered at a lower resolution than a 35 millimeter film would have been. And it just gets really soft and cheesy, and it just looks like, I don't know, sometimes I felt like it looked like a fourth grader's PowerPoint, the way some of the animations looked. You can really tell that, you know, she's on a green screen, and it's just not a great look. So picture quality on these, like I said, you're not going to buy these for picture quality. If you don't own them already, then you might as well get the 4K release if you have a 4K player. But for the price, you probably can't go wrong with the Blu-ray. The Blu-rays aren't great, and if the Blu-rays are a 2.5, then these are like a 3. Like, there's not that big of an upgrade. The HDR is nice, but because it's already kind of a softer image, it just doesn't pop as much as some other movies do. So in terms of audio now, this is even more disappointing, is that these don't come with any new audio tracks. There's no Atmos, there's no DTS-X. Paramount didn't do anything to update the audio. So it's a DTS-HD master audio 5.1, which is that's a nice track. Like, that's what most modern Blu-rays had up until a year or two ago. And so it's, you know, it's not just like a Dolby digital surround or anything. You know, it's a nice updated HD surround soundtrack, uses all 5 speakers. But where I've got a 7-speaker setup and I've really upgraded to like get ready for the Atmos and the DTS-X, and you're getting 4K copies, which is the newest technology, but they're not upgrading the sound. You know, unless it's a conscious decision by the director. I know Christopher Nolan and some of the new 4K releases didn't want to do that because that's just not how he mixed the movie. But, you know, it just would be really nice to remaster. If you're not going to remaster the picture, at least do the sound. You know what I mean? Like the 4K resolution for a lot of these movies isn't the biggest upgrade. It's about the HDR, and it's about possibly getting a new surround soundtrack. And so this is missing that. It's missing an upgrade to 4K because it wasn't remastered. And so it's really just, you're basically buying these for the HDR and the small uptick in quality, which for $24, $25 that these are each going to go for is just really not worth it when you're talking about a Blu-ray that you can probably find for $5 on eBay. Like, it's just not going to be worth the upgrade right now. The only way I would say to buy these, and the only thing it has going for them, is the packaging. The packaging, I think, is really nice. I really like the bright yellow, the bright blue. The artwork's pretty, you know, basic, but these pop on a shelf. And so if you're deciding that you're going to go with 4K and you're going to upgrade things and you're on the fence about these, but you want something that looks nice in the collection, or you're a big Tomb Raider fan, you want the nicest packaging, these by far have that. So that it has that going for it. They have all the special features from the old Blu-ray releases. So, you know, it's got all that, but nothing on the 4K disc. So, unfortunately for me, I can't say that I'd recommend these. They're on my list of kind of 4K movies that didn't really need a refresh, and they're really being used, I think, more for marketing purposes to just talk about the new Tomb Raider movie, and like I said, get that name out there again and kind of get it at the top of people's minds. So when the movie comes out in May, the new Tomb Raider movie, you know, people are kind of thinking about it. Maybe a new generation goes out and buys the 4K releases, but in terms of just a picture quality, audio quality, I can't recommend it. It's really on the lower half of 4Ks that I've reviewed. It's nowhere near the top tier level that I'm really looking for in order to recommend an upgrade from a Blu-ray copy. Blu-ray is already a really great format. 1080p is very crisp depending on your TV. It looks better on a 4K TV too, so even if you upgraded to 4K, a Blu-ray will still look great. And so you really need to impress the consumer if you're going to have them upgrade their discs. Unfortunately here, Paramount kind of slipped and didn't make that happen. They just kind of revamped a Blu-ray, same soundtrack, and just basically called it a 4K disc and slapped the 4K logo on it with some new packaging. But other than that, there's not a whole lot here to talk about. Kind of a disappointing release for sure. And so overall, I mean, I'm a huge proponent of the 4K format, and I love 4K movies, and I love what the studios are doing promoting physical media, but these are two that I would have to skip. If Paramount didn't send me these to review, I can't say they would have ended up on my shelf unless I could have got them for $10 or so. So next Black Friday, if you can find these guys for $10, then it's worth a pickup if you don't already own them. But for the $25 price point, you're gonna be spending $50 to get these two, and it's just not worth it. You can do a lot better with $50 in the 4K format than by buying these two movies, unfortunately. All right, guys, so that's about it. That's a quick review. Unfortunately, not one of the better 4K releases that I've been sent by any of the studios. Wasn't a really exciting one. I was really amped up to check these out. I was hoping, because the Blu-rays were pretty soft, they weren't very good, they weren't well done when they came out. I was hoping this would be an upgrade. Unfortunately, it's not, but you know what? That happens with the format. Sometimes you know, new formats like this, stuff falls through the cracks, and that's why you get Blu-rays from 2008 that were re-released in 2015 and look much better. The technology improves, the studio decides to spend a little more time and money remastering new soundtracks, and so it's why you've seen a lot of Blu-ray re-releases in the last 4 or 5 years. But it's also a reason why it's tough to be an early adopter, because you're just not sure. So you're not sure how the technology is going to play out. You're not sure how the format's going to look. You know, people that adopted Blu-ray very early in 2008, 2009 probably had to rebuy a few Blu-rays because the quality got so much better over the next 10 years that it was just necessary to kind of revamp the collection. And instead of just these upscale DVDs, actual 1080p remasters. And now the same thing, I think, unfortunately, is happening with 4K, where you're basically going to have some discs like Tomb Raider that come out, and it's just not, it's going to be an upscale Blu-ray. It's essentially what it is. It's an upscale Blu-ray. There's nothing else added on. And then you're going to have some releases like The Dark Knight comes to mind. Older movie, again, but completely remastered into the 4K format. Christopher Nolan worked the hell out of that movie to get it on 4K. IMAX scenes come across, new soundtracks. Like, that's what I'm looking for in a 4K release if I'm going to upgrade. And so Paramount kind of dropped the ball on this one, unfortunately. But other than that, guys, thanks for watching. I just wanted to get this out there. I know a lot of people were talking about pre-orders and whether they should grab these or not, and there were a few people excited. So I wanted to give my honest review, help you guys out. So thanks for watching. Definitely like this video. Even if you don't like what I have to say, let me know in the comments. I'm always open to discussion, especially when you guys get these. If you think they're better than what I thought, you know, let me know. Everyone's opinion's different, so I'd be interested to hear what you guys all think. And definitely remember to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We're up over 900 now. We're at 911 last time I checked. It'd be great to get to 1,000. I'd love to get to that 1,000 mark. That would really mean a lot. It's kind of a big milestone I've been working towards. And then just upward from there, we're just going to keep working. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. I'll put some links down in the description for those. Definitely say hi. Send me a Twitter message. Tweet at me. Show off your movies. Send me a message on Instagram. I always get back to people. Always try to help other collectors out. Give them advice on home theaters, what kind of movies they should be buying, you know, what the best release of a movie is. Whatever you guys want to ask me, I'm there for you, so definitely let me know. But yeah, until next time, guys, thanks for watching. This was my Tomb Raider 4K review, and signing off.